Today we're gonna make a strawberry margarita in the Ninja Slushie Machine. And if you're new here, this is my second YouTube channel, which is devoted to all things frozen cocktails. And for the time being, it's mainly focused on the Ninja Slushie Machine. But in the near future, we'll have other slushie machines and eventually do more blender cocktails. But right now, this is still new to me. I've had it for a few months. I like to put it through its paces, and I know for a lot of you out there that have this, maybe you just got this, you don't really know where to start if you want to make your own cocktails or adapt cocktails that aren't made for the Ninja Slushie Machine. And that's what I'm trying to do here, is provide you with the recipes and the resources needed to make better slushies at home. So the recipe I'm going to make today is really a recipe I've already done. On my main YouTube channel, when I did the first video for this machine, I featured a margarita recipe. I'm just going to adapt that one and swap out the simple syrup for a strawberry simple syrup. This is from Real. It's a strawberry puree syrup, and it is 66 Brix, and I tested that in my digital refractometer. That is the percentage of sugar by weight of a solution. So it basically means it's 66% sugar, which matches a 2-to-1 simple syrup. So if you're making your own homemade strawberry syrup, you might need to do some adjusting here to make sure that you get to the correct Brix. And the reason I'm not using fresh is it is October right now. It's not the height of strawberry season. You can find decent strawberries in California from time to time, but this is unopened. It's shelf stable. And once you open it, I'm going to keep it in the fridge. I have tried this and I thought it was pretty good. It's not quite as good as fresh. And while Real, I think it's a bad rap because they come in these white plastic bottles and you see them sitting out at like pool bars everywhere. A lot of their products are quality. I love the passion fruit. I love the cream of coconut. They make a great banana puree. And I'm not opposed to things that come in a bottle, especially if it makes it easier. Now, everything you've seen on this channel so far, and basically everything on my other channel, comes to syrups or spirits. I have not been paid for anything. Everything you see, including the Ninja Slushie Machine, is something that I bought on my own. So I already measured out my water. I have 451 milliliters of water. Next, I'm going to add in 129 milliliters of lime juice, and I'm using lime super juice here. 107 milliliters of strawberry puree. $86 milliliters of a 40% ABV orange liqueur, and then 172 milliliters of a tequila that is 40% ABV. In the episode's description, I will have a full recipe that's for 64 ounces, which you could divide by whatever to get a smaller amount, and I will have ounces as well as milliliters. Such a large glass here. This is probably like 16 plus ounces. Now, if you see the consistency, it's not this big pillows of ice crystals. It's small, it's a little bit loose, and on the exterior, it's a little bit melted. That's how I like it. If you want something that has more volume, more icy, more structure, then just add more water. But let's try it first and we'll talk more about that. Probably a low bar, but one of, if not the best strawberry margarita I've ever had, because it's not too sweet. I can taste the tequila, and I can taste the agave. I can taste this tequila, and usually we're talking about really bottom shelf stuff. This is a pretty affordable brand tequila, Painted Donkey. It's good for margaritas, for slushies, for cocktails like this. And it is very tart. I used a lot more lime juice than normally, so adjust that and replace it with water if you want even less tartness in the drink. Something I didn't consider, which will play a role in this, that the strawberry puree, it's not like a simple syrup that is just sugar and water, so we know how much water is in there. I don't know how much water is in here, and that could affect the outcome and the overall consistency at the end. You can see the strawberry puree inside it, the little flecks of strawberry. So there's solids in this that are not sugar, and that is taking up basically the room where water would be. So that's something to think about. Now, I will tell you, if you want a fluffier texture, then you're going to have to add more water. And if you're finding that you're putting in a recipe and it doesn't work to what you think a slushie should be, and it And the reason is that it doesn't have the volume, it doesn't have the texture you want, the iciness. It's always about water. It's always about you needing to add more water. Your machine and your conditions are not going to be exactly the same as mine. And I found that even in my exact conditions that the machine does not perform the same every single time. I will tell you, in making this, I put the mix in, I turned it on, turned to the spike slush setting. I came back a little while later when it gave a beep and it wasn't slushy enough. So I bumped up the temperature to the highest setting and I let it run. And then the machine turned off. Gave me a warning that it had too much sugar and too much alcohol. And I've had that happen before, that doesn't make sense, right? How come on a lower temperature setting with less slush, it didn't do that? And on the higher temperature, it did that. So what I do when these errors come up is I turn the machine off, I turn it back on. I put it back to that setting that I want, and then it ran, and then it completed it and gave me the beep that it was ready to go. So if you're having trouble with the machine, as dumb as this might sound, turn it off, turn it back on, change the temperature settings. And if you still don't like that texture, then always add water. It's always a matter of there being too much sugar, too much alcohol. The guidelines of the machine, they tell you 16% ABV. I just have never found anything close to that working. So for me, 12, 13 maybe, depending on the sugar. And this one is pushing that borderline. And I like a lot of my recipes to push the borderline of what the machine can do. But to be safe, some of the other recipes that I've shown here, I think for the Irish coffee and the Negroni, those are about like 10% ABV and 10 bricks, so that's 10% sugar. That should work every single time. And if you still don't have the texture you want, it's really a matter of preference and adding more water. But you don't always have to think about it about sugar and water, and sometimes it's just adding more water. And in a half batch, I would start with 1/2 ounce to 1 ounce, put it in there, let it run, see if that helps. Give it 10 minutes, come back and add more if you need to. Because it's always about finding your perfect slushy consistency. It might not be the same as mine or someone else out there that's giving you the recipe. And the last note on the machine I would give you is I don't even totally understand how these machines work, how they're telling you when it reaches the right consistency or that you have too much alcohol or too much sugar. It seems sometimes at random. I don't know if it's actually the machine is picking up the temperature in a sensor or it's picking up resistance. It's hard to say. These machines, while they might seem finicky and hard to use, I will tell you from limited experience with a much larger commercial model, they are so much easier to use. There's more user-friendly tools here to help you make slushies. But it's like, I'm sorry to beat this dead horse, it's always gonna come back to the amount of water. If you want more ice, you want bigger volume and texture, then add more water. And yes, you're diluting everything in there, but that's the only thing that's gonna help you get to that slushy consistency is more water. So that's it, the strawberry margarita and the Ninja Slush Machine. I'll be back soon using a store-bought mix, and it's a pretty good, delicious orange slushy. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a like below, consider subscribing. Check out my other channel if you want more cocktail content, and otherwise see you on the next one.